Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Roma Theory. How is your weekend doing? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. And we have got a game tomorrow, and Mourinho spoke today. And he gave a lot of surprises. I have to be honest with you. I was not expecting Mourinho to say some things, like Smalling being injured. That's something which I was definitely not expecting. That is one of those things which took us by surprise, because I actually inserted him in my predicted 11. But Smalling is injured, and we're going to get into this today. So, yeah, we've got a lot of things to go through, and we're going to speak. Obviously, this is a translation. If you're new here, these press conference reactions are very important for non-Italian speakers, because Roma don't normally put the subtitles or the translations. So if you are struggling to understand what Mourinho did say in his press conference, then this is the perfect video to have clicked on. I say we just get into this, because we've got a lot of things to go through. So yeah, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this. We'll speak about the derby at the end, because very interesting game. The first question is about our opponents. Empoli didn't start well. What team do you expect to face tomorrow? I mean, let's first of all, before saying and reading what Mourinho had to say, let's kind of answer this question ourselves. We kind of answered this yesterday. But Empoli and Roma are virtually on the same page. You know, they've got nothing to lose. But both of them are 19th and 20th in the league respectively. All of them need to try and get 3 points from this game. However, Empoli are aware that they're playing in a very tough stadium with a very tough atmosphere, and in a stadium where home advantage is going to play a massive part. And therefore, Empoli are going to play for a draw. And that's where our creativity needs to kick in, because they're going to park the bus. So I expect Empoli play very parking the bus defensive football, counter-attack us, and try and surprise us, because they've got nothing to lose and they will try to sneak us. But this is what our boss has to say. Empoli, more important than the start is the end. They are not panicking because they are in a bad position in the standings. That's not their potential, and the season will not end like that. I expect to face a team with ambition that lives in peace. We won every match against them in these last 2 years, but not one, I remember, was an easy one. They are an organised side that would play in a different way in trying to sneak us. They have the same coach. In the 2 days that we worked with the whole team, we did it with respect for them. They are a good team. We have the ambition to win the first match. Something interesting here is something very interesting here is his first sentence, which is more important than the start is the end. I think again this is genius, because this sentence of the ending is more important than the start. He's basically placed this sentence being asked about them, but if you think about it, it's a sentence which can be applied when we speak about ourselves, because again, we're on the same page as them. So I think this is, you know, starting an answer to a question about our opponents in a way where you're going, it's more important than the start is the end, is also a way to tell all of the criticisms that the team has received, our team has received in these first 3 game weeks. Judge us at the end, don't judge us now. And I think this is hilarious, because it's one of those things which can be applied on both fronts. Which again, he's the genius of the communication when it comes to that. But yeah, they're a team which changed a lot. They're a team which changed a lot, kept the base of their team, kept their manager. We have surprising statistics is the fact that we did win all of the games. Last 4 games against Empoli were all wins. This is a team which we love winning against. This is a team which some of our players love scoring against. I know Dybala scored a great goal when we played against them in their ground last season. And as we mentioned yesterday, Empoli is in fact Lukaku's biggest threat. Lukaku is Empoli's biggest threat because Empoli is in fact the team Lukaku scored the most Serie A goals against. So yeah, they're not a slow team. We can say a lot of things about Empoli, but they aren't a slow team. You know, they are a team which I always refer to that second goal we conceded against Verona because I still have that goal flashing in my mind when I sleep. But I will give you an example. We don't have Smalling tomorrow because he's injured, and we're going to delve into what Mourinho had to say about Smalling in a second. But Empoli are a fast team. If we open up like we opened up against Verona, against Empoli, I'm going to say it, we're going to concede. I find a lot of similarities regarding the relegation teams. Teams like Verona, teams like Empoli. In my opinion, they all have a law implanted in them. They are all teams which need to try and avoid getting relegated, and therefore in these games where they have the abilities of trying to sneak points on big teams, they're all going to play in very similar ways. Park the bus, find open spaces and counter-attack. So I expect a very similar game by Empoli as we did against Verona. We lost that one and we committed a lot of mistakes in that game. So we cannot allow we can't even think about losing tomorrow's game. And I've said this and I've repeated this so many times, but I just need to make this clear. Like, losing tomorrow, in my opinion, is the definition of the changing room broken down. Because if you don't win tomorrow, I have a little suspicion. It's just my feeling. But if we don't win tomorrow, if we lose tomorrow, and if we lose badly, I mean, even if we lose, because if you lose against Empoli, you lose badly. If you lose tomorrow, I have a little feeling that something happened in the changing room and the team is playing to get Mourinho sacked. Because it's just one of those games which you would never expect and kind of justify if we lose. Let the game speak, and I think we'll win tomorrow, and I think we'll put ends to this dark period, get back winning, get back the first 3 points of the season. I think we'll do it, but the thought of us losing tomorrow's game can't even cross our mind. It just can't even cross our mind. Anyways, moving on. Smalling. This is a surprise. I have to be very honest with you. This is definitely a surprise because we normally know when players are injured. We did not know about Smalling injured. I'm not sure if it's an injury because nobody said anything. I'm not sure if it's personal reasons, but basically what I've been told is that Smalling didn't train with the team in these past 2 days. I don't know what that means. Could be a minor injury, could be little muscle, minor problem, could be personal reasons. Mourinho hasn't specified what it is. Mourinho has just said that Smalling will not get a call up tomorrow and will be unavailable for tomorrow's game. And this is what he says about this. Tomorrow, I think he won't be available. Let's see today's training. Maybe he arrives last to make a bench and help us in case of need. There is the possibility of not going on the bench either. Obviously, it's one thing to talk to you Obviously, it's one thing to talk to you before the market closes, and it's another thing to do it afterwards. Roma signed 2 strikers. It was very difficult to have 2 players like Romelu and Azmoun. If we're all available, trained, and have time to work together, our team profile changes. And then adding on to this, he has confirmed that Lukaku and Dybala will start from the very first minutes tomorrow. I mean, look, as much as I regret not having Smalling on the pitch, because I've always said this, but Smalling is our leader. Smalling is more than just a normal centre-back. And we've seen this last season, because the games he was playing, Mancini and Ibanez were different players as well. When they don't have Smalling in the middle, they tend to panic way more. But at the same time, I'm very curious to see what happens to our defence tomorrow, now that Smalling is injured. Because, first of all, Ndika will start. And in a continuation to yesterday, if Ndika doesn't start, it's a mystery. And the second question is, now that Smalling is injured, do we have the balls to switch from 3 defenders to 4 defenders at the back? Because now that Smalling is injured is the perfect time to do it, if you ask me. Again, the reason why we haven't switched back to 4 defenders is because of the poor quality of our fullbacks, and playing with 4 defenders at the back requires you a lot of efforts from the fullbacks. But at the same time, now that he's injured, I think is the perfect time to experiment it with. But again, I'd also say that tomorrow we don't need experimentations, because we just need the 3 points. And if we experiment tomorrow and the consequences of our experiment fails, then we're rock bottom in the league. So tomorrow's not a game to experiment. Tomorrow's a game to go in, win, and go back home and think about Thursday's game. But I'm curious to see how Ndika will play tomorrow. 100%. 100%. Lukaku and Dybala will start tomorrow, he said. So looking forward to that duo. And also, Mourinho gave a little comment on the transfer window. And he has said that when the team is fit, when the team doesn't have injuries, when the team had time to train together, we have a very good team. And that's the way it has to be. Our team is a very unlucky, injury-prone, unfit team. But this just puts to mind that in the few times where our team is fit, our team is a good team. The few times where our team has everybody available, I think our team is a top 4 team. Again, you look at the way the other teams are performing who need to get top 4, and you ask yourself, well, okay, but who's going to drop points? That's not my point. My point is, if everybody's fit and available, we are a team which needs to and has to compete for top 4. I haven't said we're a team which is a top 4 team, but a team which has the rights and kind of the needs to fight to get top 4. So yeah, that is definitely it. And then the last question is about Totti. Now, we've had a lot of speculations about Totti getting back in the ownership. And yesterday Totti left some, call them declarations or not. Yesterday Totti released some interviews. And if you see the way he's mentioned and said this interview, it suggests to us that he's coming back. So obviously journalists have asked Mourinho what he thinks about this. And they've asked him, you have probably read Totti's words. Did you talk to Totti about Roma? And would you like him as an interior figure to help you? And Jose says this: I am the coach. And especially, I am nobody to even talk to a legend of Romanism. In the sense that I can't say that I want it because he needs to decide. I talk to him about banalities. We speak about how we are, how are you doing, you're gonna go get a pizza. This is my relationship with Francesco, with respect to the ownership. My social life in Rome is practically non-existent. But from the few contacts I have, Totti is Rome. He has never left here, and he will will never leave. All the fans show me their affection for him. For me, Francesco is Francesco. Mourinho didn't ask anything. Mourinho said nothing. So you look at Totti's words, and then you look at Mourinho's words, and you're like, well, okay, maybe he didn't ask Totti to come in, but Totti wants to come back in, and he's putting pressure on the ownership to get him back in. Again, they might Even, I mean, Mourinho could have easily gone to Totti and asked him to come back. He's just not going to publicly say it because he knows that our ownership doesn't like announcing things publicly. I think definitely something has happened. I think contacts have definitely happened between Totti and the Friedkins, and Mourinho has probably indicated Totti as the person he needs. That definitely happened, because otherwise you would not have the legend of this team leaving some interviews yesterday and basically confirming that he's coming back. That's because you're Totti, and saying things which aren't true can ruin the magnificent reputation that he's built with his loyalty with this fan base. So that's not the thing. They definitely spoke. And I do think that the offer of him coming back in the ownership was definitely there. Mourinho's not going to confirm this. Mourinho's just used this to praise him, to describe him as a legend of the game, to show all the praise that he has for him. And yeah, maybe, again, we know how big of a communicator Jose is. Maybe I'm driving this too forward, but all of these words which Mourinho used to describe Totti might also be a message to the ownership going, I want to work with him. He's the legend of this city. He's the legend of this club. I don't have the rights to speak about him and what he wants to do because Francesco is Francesco and Mourinho is Mourinho. But, if I need to indicate somebody, and I've already indicated that I need somebody to try and help me with the referees and all of that, then I've indicated somebody. But look, I think you look at what he said and you're like, something happened. He might be coming back, because I just find it surreal for somebody like to have such a name like Totti to lie to the fans and say he's coming back. Something happened, and we will see what happens. But the most important thing now isn't Totti coming back, Totti not coming back. The most important thing now is winning and getting the 3 points tomorrow. Because if we don't get the 3 points tomorrow, then all of these talks, all of these facts, all of these chats between us and journalists and press conferences are useless. We have to turn these chats, these criticisms into facts. That's the only way to improve. The only way to improve is if we get all of these press conference ideas, views, criticisms, mistakes, and turn them into facts and start winning games. That's the only thing to move forward, and that's the only thing which needs to happen tomorrow. So hopefully, we win tomorrow. And yeah, right. Let's talk about the derby a bit, because 5-1 isn't normal for a derby result. It really isn't. I mean, Inter or the Man City of this area, it's just as simple as that. Inter have such a good team. The squad that they have, the players they have. Inter's going to win the league, in my opinion. I think Milan are close second. Okay, they got battered today, but you look at the first games they played, and they played such good football. They have so many good players, so many young talents. I've said it, it's going to take time for Milan to build that chemistry. They've had a lot of new names. In the long term, their project is going to be the project which is going to dominate this league. But right now, Inter are better, and Inter have clearly shown that they are better than them. Juventus are also very, very good. And the fact that they don't have European football, in my opinion, is very, very big to consider. I mean, yeah, top 4 is just so far away from us right now, because the top 4 teams are written in the stars. Inter, Milan, Juventus, and Roma, and Napoli. And unfortunately, again, we just got to be real, but there's such a big gap between these teams and Roma that we're not going to get top 4. In my opinion, we aren't going to get top 4. These teams are better than us. The only team out of these 4 teams which I can see hypothetically drop some points and collapse is Napoli. Because Napoli are not going to be the same. Napoli haven't replaced Kim properly. and Napoli are weaker than both Inter Milan and Juventus. Inter Milan and Juventus are confirmed going to get top 4. Napoli's 80% going to get top 4. There's just a massive gap, and if before the season started the gap was this big, the amount of points we lost from the first 3 games made that gap even bigger. So top 4 is a miracle. Top 4 to happen needs to, a miracle needs to happen. But again, why do we need to think about long-term objectives? The objective now is win game by game, get the streak back going, and especially get the momentum back going. But Inter are unbelievable. I mean, the players they have, the way they've added, not many names, but the few names that they've added are quality signings, and the way they've just gotten together, played together, Inter are great. Inter are the Man City of the Serie A. And also another thing about Inter and Milan, in the short term, is that Milan, in my opinion, are a great team, but they're way too dependent on 2/3 players. They're way too dependent on Giroud, Teo Hernandez, and Leao. Let's face it, Milan's defense is terrible. They've got a great goalkeeper, but their defense is shambolic this season. Inter have got incredible blocks of players all around. They aren't dependent on just one player. They've got an incredible defense. They've got an incredible squad depth in the midfield. They've got incredible attackers which continue to score goals. It's just Inter are better, and Inter are going to win the league, in my opinion. And I think if they continue like this, played 4 games, scored so many goals, only conceded 1 goal in the space of 4 games. If Inter continue like this, which they are not going to continue like this, because now the Champions League will kick in my opinion, they're going to start losing more points. Inter have a very easy group stage, but they're going to advance into the Champions League. And just like last season, they're going to face those periods where they are going to lose points. But if they continue on with this rate, by March, Inter have got the league title in their hands. Inter won the league by March if they continue like this. They're just too good compared to other teams. So yeah, catch you tomorrow, stadium vlog tomorrow. So click the bell notification button so you'll be notified when that stadium vlog happens. Hopefully you win. I'll catch you tomorrow. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I know the sound is still a bit wobbly. I'm trying to fix all of these things, new microphones, camera, lights, and all of that. After I turned 18, I took a few days off because I was just enjoying partying. So I just got to reassemble all of this. The sound and everything is going to improve. So sorry if it's echoey and all of that. But yeah, it will definitely improve. Talk to you soon. Take care. Enjoy your Saturday evening. And yeah, talk to you soon. See you out.